2 miles beneath the surface, where pressure would crush your skull like an eggshell, something impossible is happening. The water here isn't just dark. It's a void so complete that sunlight has never existed. Temperature hovers just above freezing. The pressure is 200 times what you experience at sea level, enough to implode a submarine in seconds. And yet, in this alien landscape that makes Mars look hospitable, one creature has not just survived, but thrived in ways that defy everything we thought we knew about evolution. Meet the anglerfish, and nothing, absolutely nothing about these animals makes sense. When scientists first pulled these creatures from the deep, they thought they were looking at diseased specimens, females the size of basketballs, with what appeared to be tumorous growths attached to their bodies. Males so small, they looked like parasites, teeth that folded backward like broken fence posts. And strangest of all, a glowing lure dangling from their heads like something out of a horror movie. But here's what broke every rule in biology. These weren't sick animals. This was evolution at its most creative and most disturbing. Because anglerfish didn't just adapt to the deep sea. They rewrote the entire playbook for what's biologically possible. Let me tell you why these creatures are the most alien life forms on our planet. The deep sea is supposed to be evolutionary hell. No light means no plants. No plants means no food chain. The pressure should crush complex life. The cold should stop all biological processes. Every textbook said the same thing. As you go deeper, life gets simpler, smaller, less diverse. The abyss was supposed to be a biological wasteland, where only the most basic organisms could scrape by. Anglerfish looked at those rules and said no. Instead of becoming simpler, they became the most morphologically diverse group of fish on Earth. Today, there are 170 known species spread across 12 families, and they look like they were designed by different alien civilizations. Some are globular blobs with mouths that split their heads in half. Others are elongated predators with jaws that unhinge like snakes. There are species covered in whisker-like filaments, others with bodies flattened into living pancakes, and some with snouts so massive they dwarf the rest of their anatomy. Scientists call them by names that sound like metal bands: snaggletooth, sea devil, wolf-trap anglerfish, pugnacious dreamer, each one more bizarre than the last. But the real shock came when researchers used cutting-edge genetic analysis to map their evolutionary history. They expected to find slow, gradual changes over millions of years. What they discovered instead was explosive diversification happening at breakneck speed. These fish were evolving new body plans faster than species in shallow water coral reefs, the most diverse ecosystems on the planet. How is that possible in a place where nothing should be able to survive, let alone thrive? The answer lies in one of the most disturbing reproductive strategies in nature. Male anglerfish don't just mate with females. They become part of them. Picture this. You're a male anglerfish the size of your thumb, swimming through an ocean the size of space itself. The chances of finding a female are essentially zero. The deep sea is so vast that encountering another member of your species is like winning the lottery while being struck by lightning. Most animals would go extinct under these conditions. But male anglerfish evolved a solution so radical it sounds like science fiction. When a male finds a female, he doesn't just mate with her, he bites down and never lets go. His jaw locks onto her body, and then something extraordinary happens. His mouth begins to dissolve into her flesh. Their blood vessels merge. Their circulatory systems become one. The male's head literally melts into the female's body until only his reproductive organs remain, permanently fused to her side like a living appendage. The female doesn't just tolerate this. Her immune system, which should reject foreign tissue like it would a transplant organ, completely shuts down. Scientists still don't understand how this is possible. In any other animal, this would result in immediate rejection and death. But anglerfish have somehow evolved to override one of the most fundamental biological processes. Some females carry multiple males fused to their bodies like grotesque jewelry. Scientists have found specimens with up to 8 males attached, each one reduced to nothing more than a sperm-producing organ hanging from the female's flesh. When researchers first encountered this, they thought they were looking at parasites. The size difference was so extreme that early scientists classified the males as a completely different species. It took decades to realize these weren't parasites at all, but the most extreme example of sexual dimorphism on Earth. Female anglerfish can be 500 times larger than their male counterparts. To put that in human terms, imagine a 6-foot-tall woman mating with a man the size of a mouse. The biological engineering required to make this work defies comprehension. But sexual parasitism is just the beginning of what makes these creatures impossible. Because while they're fusing with their mates in ways that should kill them, they're also doing something equally remarkable with bacteria. That glowing lure hanging from their heads isn't just for show. It's a biological lighthouse powered by living organisms. Millions of bioluminescent bacteria have taken up residence inside specialized organs at the tip of the anglerfish's fishing rod. These bacteria don't just hitchhike. They've formed one of the most sophisticated symbiotic relationships in nature. The bacteria get protection and nutrients. The anglerfish gets a lure so bright it can be seen from hundreds of feet away in absolute darkness. But here's where it gets weird. Genetic analysis reveals these bacteria have evolved specifically for this partnership. Their genomes are 50% smaller than their free-living relatives. They've lost the ability to survive independently, becoming completely dependent on their anglerfish hosts. Different species of anglerfish host different species of bacteria, each one perfectly matched to their host's hunting strategy. Some produce steady light, others pulse in specific patterns. A few can even change color, and the bacteria don't inherit this relationship. Each young anglerfish must somehow acquire the right bacterial partners from the surrounding water, despite living in an environment where finding anything is nearly impossible. Research reveals that anglerfish larvae have virtually no contact with adults and don't develop their signature lures until much later in life. Yet somehow, they consistently find and bond with the exact bacterial species their particular lineage requires. Scientists have found bacteria from fish caught decades apart and thousands of miles away that are 99% genetically identical, suggesting these microorganisms maintain environmental populations that persist across generations. But the bacterial partnership is just one piece of an even stranger puzzle, because once that lure is established, anglerfish use it to orchestrate one of the most sophisticated hunting strategies in the animal kingdom. Their mouths are evolutionary masterpieces of deception and destruction. Unlike most predators that rely on speed or strength, anglerfish are patient architects of death. They position themselves motionless in the water column, their bodies perfectly camouflaged against the black void, with only that hypnotic lure visible to passing prey. When something approaches, drawn by the false promise of an easy meal, the anglerfish doesn't strike immediately. Instead, it waits, allowing its victim to move closer and closer to what appears to be a harmless, glowing organism. The prey has no way of knowing it's swimming directly into the mouth of a predator whose jaw can unhinge wide enough to swallow animals twice its own size. The attack itself happens faster than human eyes can track. The anglerfish's mouth explodes outward, creating a suction force so powerful it vacuums prey directly into its throat. But here's where the engineering gets truly diabolical. Those backward-folding teeth aren't just for show. They work like a biological lobster trap, allowing prey to slide effortlessly toward the stomach while making escape impossible. Each tooth is hinged at the base, designed to collapse under forward pressure, but lock rigid when force is applied in reverse. It's the same principle used in parking garage spike strips, but evolved millions of years before humans ever conceived of such devices. Once something passes those teeth, There's no going back. And the anglerfish's stomach is perhaps the most extreme example of biological expandability on Earth. The entire digestive system can stretch to accommodate prey that dwarfs the predator itself. Scientists have found anglerfish with stomachs distended to twice their normal body size, containing whole fish that seem impossibly large for the predator that consumed them. This ability to store massive amounts of food is crucial in an environment where meals are unpredictable. In the deep sea, you never know when your next opportunity will come. The ability to consume and store enormous quantities of food when available can mean the difference between survival and starvation. Recent research reveals that different anglerfish species have evolved distinct jaw architectures optimized for different hunting strategies. Some possess tightly packed, robust teeth designed for slow but incredibly powerful bites, capable of crushing heavily armored prey. Others sport widely spaced fang-like teeth engineered for lightning-fast strikes that prioritize speed over crushing force. The most extreme examples are the so-called wolf trap anglerfish, whose jaws have evolved into something resembling medieval torture devices. Their mouths can open to angles that seem anatomically impossible, creating gaping maws lined with needle-sharp teeth that form perfect geometric patterns designed to funnel prey toward their throats. But perhaps the most unsettling discovery about anglerfish feeding behavior is their apparent ability to remain conscious and aware while consuming prey larger than themselves. Unlike snakes, which essentially shut down during the lengthy process of swallowing oversized meals, anglerfish maintain full mobility and hunting capability even with their stomachs grotesquely distended. This means they can continue hunting while still digesting previous meals, creating a biological production line of death that maximizes their caloric intake during rare periods of abundance. Some specimens have been found with multiple large prey items in various stages of digestion, suggesting they can maintain several overlapping feeding cycles simultaneously. The implications of this feeding strategy extend far beyond individual survival. Anglerfish serve as crucial links in deep-sea food webs, transferring energy from mid-water organisms down to the deepest parts of the ocean. Their ability to capture and consume such a wide variety of prey makes them keystone predators in one of Earth's largest ecosystems, and their influence doesn't end with death. When an anglerfish eventually dies, its body becomes a bonanza for deep-sea scavengers. The massive amounts of stored fat and protein create feeding opportunities that can sustain entire communities of organisms for months or even years. But there's something else happening with these creatures that's forcing scientists to completely reconsider what they thought they knew about intelligence and consciousness in the deep sea. So there you have it. Anglerfish aren't just weird. They're living proof that evolution doesn't follow our rules. In a place where nothing should be able to survive, they've created an entire civilization of impossible creatures. They've mastered sexual parasitism that defies immunology. They've engineered bacterial partnerships that rewrite symbiosis. They've built hunting systems that make our technology look primitive. And they've done it all in the most hostile environment on our planet. Every time we think we understand the limits of what's biologically possible, anglerfish remind us we know nothing. They're not just fish. They're alien intelligences that evolved right here on Earth. In a world so removed from ours, it might as well be another dimension. The next time you look at the ocean, remember what's happening 2 miles beneath the surface. In the crushing darkness, where sunlight has never existed, creatures are living lives so bizarre, they challenge everything we think we know about life itself. And we've barely scratched the surface of understanding them. The deep sea keeps its secrets. But every now and then, it allows us a glimpse into a world where impossible is just another word for Tuesday. And in that world, anglerfish reign supreme as the undisputed masters of biological impossibility.